Dermot, the principle of soak, where did it come from? Was there a eureka moment when you thought, wow, this is something I'd like to do?
Well, it's like all good ideas, Ron. We stole it from someone else. we stumbled across. We were on a family holiday, so my father and mother and all my brothers and sisters and all the partners, everybody would gather up every year. At one stage in our career, we all went to Enniscrone this year just by chance.
Yeah.
And the lads all went fishing, and when we come back, the girls had all been into the village, and they'd all had seaweed baths.
Wow.
So, as you may know, the Enniscrone seaweed baths been going nearly 100 years around that.
100 years.
Long time, and a great tradition around that area. So whenever we come back, obviously we had to have seaweed baths.
Yeah.
At the time, myself and my then partner, Claire, we were looking for a
She's now your wife.
She's my wife, yes. She still didn't take my name.
Because when you say then partner, you could be... God, is she wife or she left him and moved on, so to speak?
No, she's still there. She's hanging on to fingernails, holding on by the fingernails. Yeah. No, she's doing good.
So you got into conversation?
Yeah, we just kind of thought this would be... We were looking for a business idea, and this is the one that just wouldn't go away. So we looked all around Northern Ireland for a place to set it up, and we settled in Newcastle, which I think is a good spot.
If I were now thinking of doing something similar, the first thing would come to my mind would be, where do I get the constant supply of seaweed that I'm going to need? And you're now 7 years doing it.
You gotta have elbow grease in your body. I think it's hard work. I'm out winter, summer, frost, snow, whatever, driving rain. I'm out in it. At least once, maybe up to 3 times a week, I go out and harvest seaweed. Mostly in the winter time with a head torch.
Yeah.
You develop methods and places you go to which are safer and the right place to go at the right time. You follow the tides and you get to know the area. But it's not an easy job, and it's not something I have ever imagined employing somebody to do, because it's a risky. You know, you're out there in the dark over slippy rocks.
Oh yeah, but you're big enough and ugly enough to look after yourself.
That's not sustainable for the next 100 years, mate.
No.
So that's why we brought on our own next generation.
Yeah,
coming in.
of course. So that was
3 big strapping lads.
Strapping lads coming on to take it over. But does the seaweed grow from a kind of a connection to the stones, or is it washed in on the tide and washed away again?
No, the stuff you see on the shoreline is called drift. It's dead, so it's basically broken off. It's what's called the holdfast. So if you imagine a stone, it's like a clamp holding the seaweed on the stone. And you know, as long as there's a bare part of the stone, that's why whenever these sort of rack beds were set up, a lot of them are man-made.
Yeah.
Rack was used as a fertilizer generations going back before when some of the ground was poor. So farmers laid stones all around the area in like fields fields of stone.
Yes, of course.
Plenty of those around Northern Ireland.
Oh, yes, indeed, absolutely.
So they just transported from the land onto the shore, and then the seaweed colonised it, if you like. Yeah. Then they would come out and harvest it at certain times of year whenever they needed it for.
How much seaweed at the peak of your season? How much seaweed do you need to have to process to put into the baths?
We would use probably around 1.5 to 2 tons a week at a peak season. Depends on the season, obviously, on how busy we are, but in and around that, which is a fair amount, although seaweed's very heavy. So if you imagine, if you've seen the little plastic cubic containers, it's probably 2 of those. 2 of those a week, which it takes a lot of hand cutting. It's all cut, it's like cutting grass with a knife, so I go down at low tide, cut it off, leave enough of it where it's still green left on it.
Yeah, and it'll grow again.
Well, you could go back to the area I've been today, say I harvested this morning, you could go back there this time next year and you wouldn't know I'd ever been there.
Yeah, so it's constantly fulfilling itself, refueling.
It's growing faster than I can cut it.
Wow,
I'm glad it's not my garden.
But you're glad it's there, you're glad it's doing that,
Absolutely, you know. And it's a lovely plant to work with, really nice thing. You know, sometimes you go out there and especially at dark, see me out with a head torch on, and you cut some of the seaweed and you're working around a rock pool or something and you see plankton.
Oh, you could, nighttime when you see plankton under the water. Yeah. We used to do it at the marina, looking down at the flotation chambers. Yeah. It's another universe.
Well, you kind of think you'd had something to smoke before you went out, like
indeed, something like that. Yeah.
You know, but no, it's really, really nice. Yeah. It's a pretty cool job.
Well, I had the joy of experiencing one of your soak seaweed baths at Newcastle, because I went along with RTE, and we did a nationwide program with you.
I'll never forget your body. It's ingrained in the back of my head.
No, what we contrived to do with Mark Ronahan, I said to Mark, what I want to do here, I want Keystone Cup music over this, and I don't want to be jumping in and out of the cubicles. Now, if you're careful, you'll only get my backside. If you're not careful, you'll get much more, and we want to avoid that at all costs. So to the Keystone Cup music, I was going in and out of the cube, looking out, having a wee joke at what was happening. Then in, you see me disappear, and then in onto the water. It was a wonderful
feeling. It was
feeling.
A lovely piece. It really was.
It was a nice piece. It worked well, didn't it? We got into the mood of it very well.
Good fun.
But the extraordinary thing, that's 7 years ago now.
That's it. We're open 7 years this year now. 24th of August. 21st of August. 7 years ago.
You know, the Victorians were at it. They were at it before that. They may well have been at it on the coast of Italy in Roman times. What is it? What are the efficacious qualities of the seaweed?
Well, basically, we all came from the sea. You know, evolution's taught us we come from the sea, so we're 75% seawater. So your body's kind of built up of seawater. How you live your life and what you do, you get upset the balance. So the more your body gets stressed, the more acid it produces. So seawater is the correct acid level for your body. So we're bathing in seawater, that's the first thing. The seaweed obviously grows in the sea, so it's concentrating all the minerals in the sea. And then when you're in the bath, we've scalded the seaweed and it's hot water. So you're basically releasing all those in high dose into the water. So anything your body needs, skin's the biggest organ. Takes all the badness out, the goodness in.
Wow.
So it is, I mean, it's a big overhaul for your body.
And you know, when you've cut the stuff, that's not the end of it. You then have to process it.
Well, it's a very simple process. We try and keep that to a minimum. Basically, we just rinse it in fresh water. Just wash any sort of sand, silt. Obviously, trying to remove any of the little plant life that grows on it, and you know, anything that doesn't look right. But it's a raw material, you know, and don't be under any illusions. There's barnacles and things growing on the seaweed, depending on where we harvest it. And then we just scald it before it goes into the bath. Now, it kills anything that would be likely to annoy you. You know,
and releases
then the oils and minerals. You actually see a colour change. It's fascinating to watch. You change it from brown seaweed into bright green.
Bright green.
Bright green. Yeah. Hence the colour of the T-shirt.
Yes, indeed. So people, what kind of feedback are you getting from people?
At the minute, in fact, for nearly the last 2 years, we've been #1 attraction in Northern Ireland on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
So TripAdvisor recently changed how it works, but on a search engines. But if you go under attractions, we're about 115 reviews, and 105 of them or 104 are 5-star. So
it seems to me it would be a most wondrous place for a fellow to bring a woman.
I wouldn't like to go into that. We've fixed many as a marriage room, but
we could be saying to a lady, you see, my darling, why don't we go for a seaweed? Can you do two in the one tub?
It's also friendly for fellas who want to bring fellas. You know,
I see.
That's happened, and girls who want to bring girls.
This guy's so politically correct, I tell you. But have you got, Dermot asked this, have you baths big enough for two?
Absolutely. All the baths are double-ended, so all of them can be shared. There's kind of seems to be an age cut-off, which we've discovered that once people get over 40, they've lost that part of the relationship, and they would prefer to have two baths. So
maybe it's just a case of I don't want you to see all this anymore. You know, it's
Well, we have one room with two baths. We call that a double room, and then all the other rooms can be shared. So we also done. We have two different styles of rooms. So we have one which is the Victorian style. So if you were in the one with the little wooden box where you turn into James Bond for
absolutely, there I was. Yes.
And then we have another one which is a kind of a walk-in steam. So it's a mini steam room. So
mini steam room.
Absolutely ideal. And I have to say, there's so many things that you kind of run out of ideas to do with your partner. So you could either go to the cinema and sit and not talk. Or you could go to the restaurant and sit and not talk in the restaurant. Or why not just come and sit in the bath and not talk?
No, but you could talk. She could be one end. You could be saying, "My darling, is it not incredibly sensuous? Do you feel the seaweed on your parts, and gently caressing you and holding you, swimming in olive oil almost, or rapeseed oil?"
That's exactly what it's like. It's like
it is that feeling.
It's like oily silk, you know.
Well, you're pivotally placed to be able to talk about pollution around our coast. What are you finding?
In the main, I have to say it's pretty good. You see the odd plastic bag, which is now we're hopefully taking care of that situation now with taxing it. But in the main, any areas that I go to, I have to say are pretty clean.
And water quality?
Obviously, I'm not testing it, but I come from a process engineering background. So the water quality in Newcastle hasn't been up to scratch for the last few years. But at the same time, I sample the water coming in for our bath, and I take at times whenever there's low rainfall. So the water quality is good.
Yeah, it's salt water that
seawater,
that you're bathing in.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just
Oh no, absolutely.
seaweed added to the ordinary
No,
stuff.
it's absolutely salt water.
Wow, that's great stuff. I tell you. And is it the kind of thing that has a great? We talked loosely about its history, but the Victorians did it. Where did it all begin? When did man first say, "I want to swim in seawater and seaweed"?
Well, I think man's been swimming in seawater for generations, but obviously the healing properties of it have been. I suppose it's just been handed down, like most things in life. It's been handed down father to son or generation to generation. And I suppose it's come up where people have seen this thing hurts. Always, I'm sure you've heard your old folk talking about if you have something wrong with your feet, you go and walk on the seaweed.
Oh, absolutely,
so that sort of thing. But the Victorians were a great believer in taking the sea air and salt water, and all around Ireland.
Sure, isn't that the very reason for the Sleeve Donard Hotel?
Absolutely,
the railway hotel. They took the people down and whatever, got them.
Well, there was seawater baths in Newcastle, where the Tropicana swim pool is. Well, Newcastle, there were seawater baths there, and people tell me that they would have brought their own seaweed. They were a public bathhouse, so people would have brought their own seaweed. So the farmers were harvesting the seaweed, as I said earlier, for the fertilizer. And whenever, at this time of the year, they noticed the hacks in their hands and their feet were curing up. So they then obviously took the next step and brought them into the hot bath with them.
Wow. What is this? You've got products with you. What is this, for example?
A few years down the line, we've decided that we wanted to go the next phase.
Yes.
So we've brought out our own product range. This is a bath in a bag to take home.
A bath in a bag.
Bath in a bag. How much better than that?
Wow.
So basically, it's dried seaweed. It's the seaweed we use in the seaweed bath. Okay. It's been dried, and then we put in a little sachet of salt. So we have a lot of good feedback for people who have conditions like psoriasis, eczema, any skin conditions at all. So basically, this here can be used as a bath product. So you can put it all in the bath, scald it, and put it in the bath. Or you can break bits off it, put it in a cup, and put it on your skin as a moisturiser.
And this is an anti-aging serum.
Too late, Rowan, I'm sorry, it's too late for you.
There's no gentleness in this guy at all, I tell you. And what is this one? This is what? This is a nourishing daily moisturiser.
Did I tell you, Rowan, that I'm 75 years old?
I know this thing. I know this thing exactly. And this is what seaweed has done to you. But you've also got a dorsal fin up your back that people can't see.
And gills behind my ears.
Yeah, I know this thing. And this is what you really need, my darling. It's a replenishing night cream. Now, darling, when you put this on you, make sure I do not embrace you, or you'll go whoop, and you'll go out the window. You need to be so careful.
Absorbed into the skin.
I told people this about my experience. I said, it's a lovely place, but oh goodness, what happened, you'll never believe. We were on the 5th floor. You don't have a 5th floor. We were on the 5th floor, and we were taking a double dose of seaweed bath. And my darling was there with me, sharing the experience. And as I hugged her, she went boom, she skidded out and slipped away through the window, fell all the way down onto the poplar tree, bounced across and onto the road, and bounced out and was taken from me in tragic circumstances. And you're that far in before people say, oh, you're joking me. You know,
the death rate's quite low in our place.
It is, of course. It is. It's a great place. People ought to go there. It's a great experience. Very, very different. Nice to do for a birthday or something like that.
Yeah.
Or one of these silly feast days, like what's it called, St. Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
That's a kind of popular one.
Yeah, that's all the time.
People get all loved up about that or something.
They do. I think you need to be loved up all year round. I think that's the important
understand
thing.
At all.
No. Go well.
Good place to enjoy yourself.
Absolutely. As is Newcastle.
Lovely spot.
What you've done, actually, in all honesty.
We fixed it. It was broken before we came.
Well, I'm going to say to you, I was about to say to you, and I'm not prompted to say you've made Newcastle interesting.
Well,
yes.
I wouldn't like to take all the credit for that.
No. And John, funny enough, the time we did the piece with you for Nationwide, we contrasted your experience with the soak seaweed, and then John Toner's up at the sleeve where they have the most magnificent spa as well. So you've got the two ends of it. You're the kind of artisan end of it.
Or the cheap tickets.
No, I'm not saying cheap. Artisan is not cheap. Artisan is magnificent. But John is up there, a wonderful man. He got a great award last week in relation to the hotel industry in his years there. But he has his spa.
A great ambassador, John.
He is a great fellow, as are you.
Thank you, Ron.
Dermot, go well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for
all the very, very best to you. That's very good.